What's going on, everybody? It is the spoiler-heavy review of The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, The Foundling, the name of the episode. Thanks for joining me here on the channel. You're brand new to it. You're just browsing around and say, hey, I want to talk about those spoilers, man. I want to talk about that Jedi. Well, join us over here. We'll talk about all of it and more. We have an interview with Katie Sackhoff and Brendan Wayne, both in studio, that you can find on the channel. And help us get to 100,000. Show a little. Just an ounce. Great. So, the episode, as I mentioned last time, so I do an immediate reaction as soon as I watch the episode, and I kind of give my thoughts on it, and then I say, all right, let me marinate on it a little bit, and I'll come back tomorrow and give you my thoughts. I like the episode for sure, but it's, I think, just as long, if not a little shorter, or maybe a minute longer than an episode of The Bad Batch. This is like a 20, I mean, without the credits and without the recap, I think it's like 26 minutes or something like that. And if you're trying to save money, then combine the episodes and make it, instead of doing 8 or 9 episodes, do 6 and do longer episodes. Like, this could have easily been combined inside of last week's episode with an intercut of the stuff that happened on Coruscant, especially with the stuff that they flashback to Coruscant with. They could have easily done that. Could easily combine episode 1 and episode 2. And there's stuff inside of this. I mean, there was a lot of great stuff that happened in this episode, and I think they finally start to develop a little bit more what it's ultimately about, and seeing what the Bo-Katan is almost going to be like the new Khaleesi, if you will, like the leading. She's destined to lead the Mandalorians. She's destined to. And you can see it even with the mythosaur and everything that happened inside of it, and her relationship now with, she's kind of learning this side of the Mandalorian culture and all that. And I think that's great. But there's dialogue that they could have added even more so, and a little bit more about the history, and teaching people, not assuming that people were Clone Wars and Rebels fans like a lot of people were, but there were a lot of people who weren't, casual fans. And it just, the length of these episodes are concerning as far as storytelling goes. You could have just added so much more, because a lot of great action in here, but you take away from some of the stuff that could have just a couple lines of dialogue, a couple things, a couple added conversations, a couple, even that, like the scene that works really well is the stuff with the mythosaur and the armorer and Bo-Katan at the end. It's like, add more inside the conversation, add some more inside the lore. And it's a matter of, it looks like with the cuts that Disney Plus is making and all that, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems that they're the episode lengths, and it's always been like this for Mandalorian, but they're trying to save cash on making these shorter episodes. And last week's episode was something like 50 minutes, and it had a lot of depth, and it had a lot of stuff. And I think that the criticism will go, oh, so people complained about that one. No, people complained about the side that it was the editing of it. I liked the story that was told last week. I just think the editing of it, again, splicing it with something like this and going back and forth and intercutting, to me, that would have made a little bit more sense. But nonetheless, like I said, I really liked the episode, and I thought that it got like I said from last week. If you combine the beginning of the last week's episode and then basically the beginning of it when they show up to the Mandalorians, and then you go right into this, it's like boom, 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 because everything going on here is it's interesting, right? You get the training of the Mandalorians in general. Now, when you start with where they are, the camp, where they've been set up now, and I loved this shot of them all, training and blasting the water and hand-to-hand combat, getting their weapons, like they're ready for some stuff. And this is basically what they were doing in the caves of. They probably should have set up here from the get-go and not worried about Navarro. I'll tell you that. This is a better spot for them. But like all the battles that are happening, and the training and the hand-to-hand combat that they're doing, and the blasters, and Bo's just kind of taking it all in. And again, really liking that, where she's embracing this side of it. And she's been part of the thing too. People were like, oh, she joined the cult. Well, she was part of Night Watch. And she, this is maybe her taking this back in, but to see that these are Mandalorians that are really going to be able to fight and maybe help her cause, and maybe be able to get Mandalore, back, So you can see her kind of taking all of it in. And And as they're blasting in, and we see now Grogu's just chilling out with the rocks, and we're like, okay, here he is. He's going to eat things again. All right, so what we're back to doing, he's going to eat. And no, he's just playing. He's getting a little older, and he's still curious. And this is I love the relationship with him and Din, where he's just like, okay, listen, put the rocks down, buddy. And then the classic shot of it's perfect Star Wars shot that all the rocks get up and run away. But as we see our buddy from, this is what Jimmy Kimmel's son, but we see our buddy we find is Vizsla's son, but we see him kind of wrestling and doing his thing. And he's like, look, man, I almost got eaten by an alligator. Big, huge alligator. So you ain't gonna mess with me. And they're like, okay, you took this guy out. How about the little guy? And I loved everything about this, like the squaring off that he's too small. He's like, he's not too small. He just can't say the Kree yet. And that's why he hasn't put it on a helmet. It's okay. Well, that's a good way to tell us. I like that. And then we're gonna, that he's gonna wind up using the Force and doing his thing. I still don't understand though. The one thing that I will ask is this: they have this stare off, and the kids are, this is gonna be easy. And they square off. He's like, I'm going to dart this little bastard. I'm like, okay, little darts. Cool. So he sizes him up. And I love that it's Bo that tells him, look, my dad used to do this too. It's kind of tough love. Good luck to you. And he puts on the dart. Now, this is the question I have, though, because we know how this ends. But in the beginning, they square off, and they're watching. Kid's like, okay, you ready? Draw. And he draws, and he pops Grogu once. Well, if you're allowed to shoot 3 times like Grogu did, why did this kid just shoot Grogu 3 times? Again, saving time, I guess. But let's pretend that's not a question. So he gets shot again. Okay, look, that's twice now. So you got to get your act together, buddy. You're embarrassing me. So do it. Do what Luke showed you. He's like, all right, fine, get off my back, Pops. So this kid, this I love the idea. He just leaps over him. You can't even see him. Where is he? He's gone. Oh, there he is. And he takes his little arrows and shoots the kid 3 times. Breaks the rules. But nonetheless, he does it. He's like, oh, you got me. You got him. Hey, that's me. So the shot of like all the training and the idea, what this has now set up is that from what everyone already kind of knew, is that Grogu is now all in on being a Mandalorian, right? So this is now this is not just them training him. I mean, excuse me. This is not just him walking around and them protecting him. Like, he's becoming part of them. And he's got to learn their ways. He's not a Jedi. He's not. Just because he uses the Force, he's going to use that. It's going to be one of his weapons, obviously. But I like that idea. And I like the idea that they're getting him, he's not just this helpless little baby anymore. And I think that's really important for the show in general. So, and it's the same thing, but this is the again, it seems to be something that happens quite often in, I'd say, the Filoni-verse. They're like, all right, look, he did good. Don't judge a book by its cover type thing. Good job, buddy. Hey, last time I was out here, a big old alligator got me. Should I maybe not be here anymore? What do you think? What's that thing? Oh, shit. It's coming to get me. I'm out of here. Yeah, well, you're not that lucky. You lost the fight, and then the thing was going to eat you. Now, why it didn't eat you, and why it didn't give you its kids, and why it waited for everybody, again, let's not worry about it. These guys are like, man, I really wanted to try to fight this thing with an oar. That would have been good. I wish it would have stuck around. Because last time the alligator came around and we blasted it to smithereens, it didn't do anything until Din drove a ship into it. But, maybe we could have beat it up with some oars from the boats. And then the people in the back are not paying attention to any of this. They're having a conversation about breakfast. These 3 on the far right are looking. The other 3, they don't care. There's like, look, this kid's getting taken again. Let someone else deal with it. We lost Ralphie there last time to the alligator. Nobody cared because this kid stays too close to the water. And Din's like, I'm going to shoot it in the ass. He's like, don't shoot it in the ass. Because then he's going to get pissed off and eat my son. He's like, oh, well, I don't know it's your son yet. You're going to tell me that later. He's like, that's fine. But nonetheless, let's go find this kid. And he's like, deal. And even when you go back to it, though, and you look, Din and Vizsla are always beefing, and now their kids are beefing. But it's a little more respect now, but still. So then that's our mission. Our mission now becomes like, and I was worried it was going to be like, a throwaway kind of side mission. All right, now they got to find this kid with this other monster. And it is, but there is a lot that happens and transpires. Like, as long as it furthers the plot, and it should, what this ultimately does is that it strengthens the confidence of the Mandalorians with Bo, because with her leadership and what she's doing and her mission and how she gets there and how she's able to do it and how they work as a team. So it's very important. It is very important to see like how they're going to work together. Again, probably could have been 15 minutes longer to further the story, but as they move and they're going to go find this kid, they know this is going to happen, and they all take off and fly after him. And probably should have done that a little earlier, but they chase after this big dragon, and then it's Bo's like, "Hey, morons, what are you flying around with jetpacks? I have a ship, remember? I'll tell you where they are." And she does. She goes to find out. She does a breakdown. The armor does her thing. They like how this is, again, Bo kicking it into action, showing her leadership skills, getting the layout of exactly, look, I did a survey. See that green thing? That's where the nest is. Let's go find this kid, and please keep him away from that water, because I am not getting him again next time. And this is the second part of what this show really is about, right? The armor's like, okay, they're off. They're doing their thing. You come with me, little guy. And he waddles in there, and it's a great little waddle. And she's building him out. This is very reminiscent to season 1 when Din's getting his stuff built for him, and he starts having flashbacks when he was a kid. And Grogu starts to have the flashback, and we start to guess. Well, who was it? Who saved him? What happened? And then they show Order 66, and all the Jedi are blasting through, and they're like, okay, we got to just get him out of here. Now, why is he the only one they're saving? Is there kind of some special mission? Are they trying to get everybody out of there, and there were no other younglings that made it? Maybe he's the last youngling that made it? I don't know, because he's even supposed to be significantly younger at this point. This is, 20 years earlier? So he's probably only, whatever the hell he is, he's probably, 20 years old at that point? No, 25, 30 years old at this point? So he's not even, he's significantly younger. Grogu. But then the reveal, there he is. Master Jar Jar himself, Master Binks, Ahmed Best. There's the reveal. I had a mixed reaction to the reveal. And part of me loved it. I'd say a lot of me loved it, because of all the crap that this guy has gotten throughout the years from the character that he just played the way that he was told to play it. That he was able to come back, and not only come back, he comes back as a Jedi, and not only is a Jedi, he's a Jedi that ultimately saved Grogu, and he does it in such a dramatic fashion, and we're going to go through that first. And I'll tell you my only kind of gripe with it. I'll tell you in a moment, but he knows right away. I guess they have the mission that he's look, and I love that they're back on Coruscant after we were just there, and that's kind of relevant as well. And I thought Ahmed Best did this great. He's ready to protect. He's got the clone troopers come in. He's got 2 sabers, one of the other fallen Jedi. He wipes everybody out. I love it. He tosses this one fool right off the top of the. And then he also knows, he's kind of wise. He's like, there's more people coming. I'm gonna get out of here. Let's go. Let's take a ship. He can fly. Love that the burning shot. Very Revenge of the Sith reminiscent. And then he takes off. He's like, look, I got you, man. Let's go. And he's doing his ultimate chase right through the city. And he's just got to get to a point. And this is where this ties back into last week's episode when we saw the doctor touching that mountain. And here's that place. It's been there obviously for quite a while. And he gets Grogu out. And there's the one question, and you guys probably answer this in the comments because I didn't know. These guys here that are his buddies and helping him out, now who are they working for? Because aren't they supposed to be hunting down the Jedi as well? Are they Bail's people, or are they who are they? Why aren't they turning on the Jedi? Because the Jedi are supposed to be in this narrative of the villains. So why are they helping? Who are they working for? I'm very curious. But he's out. Ahmed Best saves him, takes Grogu out, and then he's back thinking about how this all went down. Now, people go, well, what didn't you like about it? I was hoping for Quinlan Vos, and I'll tell you why. And I know people are going to go, well, wait a minute. You go back to Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan has a conversation with Anakin that Quinlan's gone. He's on a different mission. I understand. But he could also be coming back. Only because they had set him up in Obi-Wan, and I thought he was going to have more of a role. He's going to thought he was going to have something else to do, and then also would be able, because we know that we don't know how long he stayed alive. We know that he's alive during the Obi-Wan period. So it would have been interesting to debut him and say he's also the guy who helped save Grogu, and maybe that's one of the missions that he was doing, and one of the things that he was helping during that time period where Quinlan was here, like that type of thing. But it was Ahmed Best, and I thought that was a nice way. It was something. I think it was. I'm happy with the choice, because ultimately, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're watching this now, you're going to remember this. You're going to remember now that he was the guy that saved Grogu, and it was strategic. They did that. They gave him and people. I saw a couple comments. Why would he want to come back after the way that a lot of the audience kind of treated him? Because he loves Star Wars. And he loves being part of it, and he was a team player, and he went through it, and he loved what he was doing and being part of it, and they gave him this role, and I think that's why people were pretty excited about it overall. Some people are like, wait, what the hell? Why is it him and not somebody more relevant to, like I said, Quinlan or Mace Windu or whoever it would have been? And I think that this is and is he going to have a larger role down the line? Did he make it? I don't know. I don't necessarily think he needs to, but the choice, I get why they made the choice. But Grogu, man, he's like, oh, okay. That was painful to go through again. He's like, I hope that guy's all right. And then she builds him. I think, the armor's losing a little bit of her skills, because she makes this thing a little too big, I think. She puts it on him, and it's like bigger than his head. Could have probably shrunk that down just a little bit, but nonetheless, he's starting to get more of the Mandalorian armor. And then we intercut to basically find, once again, Bo's leading the charge. She's got everybody ready. She's been on missions before. She knows how to do it. They take it. They know who she is. They know her rep, and they follow her. I love these scenery shots that they do. Carl Weathers did a really great job directing this episode all the way around, from the scenery, from the action. He's done really great episodes thus far. And as they get to this fire, and she's still learning the rules, and she's like, well, how are we going to eat? I don't understand. She's like, well, everybody's going to go around the side, and, I'm not going to mention this, but I'm just going to tell you, because you asked about the eating part. People kind of eat, and then they piss and poop right afterwards. So just find your way, whatever you're going to do. And she gets up to leave, and they go, no, you're leading the charge. You get the fire. And so she sits down. She takes the helmet off. It's great. Now, my question, again, is, what happens when somebody comes back? They got to call behind a rock? Hey, put your helmet back on. I'm coming by. Hope you're not pooping. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but nonetheless, they showed her respect. That was the point of it. And that's the point of this mission. This scene alone, instead, if you're asking yourself, it seemed like a throwaway, they're just rescuing this kid. This scene alone should tell you what this episode was about. And they put the fire out. They're on their way back. They do this again. The climate, the scenery in this is just fantastic. She's leading this mission. They're climbing up, and instead of flying up and exposing themselves and saying, "Okay, we're here, let's battle," it's a sneak attack. Even though Vizsla kind of messes that up, but I love this shot. You can see the nest kind of off the side of it, and they make their way up. It's the sneak attack, and this is where we get the reveal. Vizsla's like, "That's my son. I got to go." And the parent kicks in, and these little bastards are waiting for him. And then all hell breaks loose. Now, why the kid has just been sitting in the mouth and just gets spit up. They finally were going to eat him for a snack, and I don't know. But this poor bastard. I mean, he wants to be an accountant now. He doesn't want to be a Mandalorian anymore. From the alligators and the dinosaurs and all these things, he doesn't want to deal with it anymore. But him and his dad both get picked up. And then we get to see the Mandalorians in action, man. Whee! Bo-Katan goes flying. She's able to. It shows everybody. Din is. That's again one of the things. Again, with an additional 15 minutes on this episode, you can give Din a little bit more to do. Din really had nothing to do. He shoots at the thing. Tries to hit it in the ass. He tells Grogu what to do when he's fighting. But Din doesn't really have much to do in this episode. And I like that the focus is on Bo-Katan, and I like that the focus is on Grogu in this episode. But I do think that because of the lack of time inside of this episode, you lose Din. And they could have added more stuff. I mean, at the end, he winds up doing some stuff. He's ultimately the one that comes in and is able to free up the kid. But you know, Vizsla has to do. They're all fighting together, and there's some great shots. The CGI in the show is really, really fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, there's just a lot of great. It's just fun, like as a kid, just thinking about like Mandalorians fighting, doing all this stuff, and this adventure, and finally Din was able to basically hog tie this thing, get the kid, and then this was another great kind of Star Wars moment, right? He got the thing falls down, and not only does another one of these alligator creatures come in and eat it up, I did think, I'm like, well, what happened to the thing had babies? Oh, they don't care. They're out of here, but they do care, apparently. They come back, and this is where the armor is waiting. It says, Bo-Katan, you did it. And look at Grogu. Grogu's like, I would have liked to have been with you guys, but you did it. I'm proud of you guys this time around. And they got and this is where Bo's like, okay, yes, I'm accepted. I get it. Thank you so much. By the way, I got you some new foundlings. I would have said pets, but they're chasing meat right now, and here they are. And so I guess these things are going to be part of the crew as well. But ultimately, we get to the end here, and this mythosaur conversation, which I thought was fascinating, where she's like, well, what about if I saw one? She's like, you'll see a lot of things as you're going through. She's like, no. Like, what if I actually saw one? And she's like, yeah, I get it. Stop sniffing the glue. But this is where you got to kind of get that Khaleesi thing from Bo. She did see it. We know she saw it, and she's basically the chosen one. And that's a great, and that's why the story we start to find now is that Bo-Katan is the Mandalorian. At least that's what I think. Din is going to be, rolling with Grogu, teaching them the ways, and I think Grogu is going to. That's why people always say, well, "Where's Grogu?" Later on in the story, he's a Mandalorian, so he doesn't have to be he's not a Jedi. So when they try to get him, he's a Mandalorian that knows how to use the Force. So he'll be older and wearing his helmet. I'm curious how it's going to blend together later with Bo's people and then this group here. That's ultimately going to happen, it seems like. But we're 4 episodes in, and I'm hoping this is the last of the short episodes. I'm not holding my breath, though. I think we're going to see a lot more of these short episodes. I just wish they would have combined them more. I think it just doesn't make as much sense. But I ask you guys, what did you guys think of the episode? Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? What did you think of Ahmed Best coming back and being the Jedi that saved Grogu? Did you like it? Not like it? And where do you think about the story overall? Do you think that the story is developing? I think we're getting there. But we're getting there a little slow. But do you think that the story is ultimately the fact of all the Mandalorians, all sides of them coming back and reforming Mandalore as a culture? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Really want to hear your thoughts. Once again, if you haven't been here before and you're brand new, hit that subscribe button, please. Show a little. And we'll see you guys very, very, very soon. Thanks once again. I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.